Hello everybody, Skin Deep Beauty Vlogger here. I hope you're all really well. Today's video is not one that I planned at all, but I was in Boots and I saw that the new L'Oreal La Palette Nude in the shade Rose or Rosé was out. A lot of people have been sort of very excited about this, so I thought that I would jump at the chance to pick it up. I think it was around $14.99. It's still in its cellophane wrapper, so this isn't going to be a first impression, so I'm not going to apply it, but I'm just going to talk you through sort of my initial thoughts on it and do some swatches for you. On the back you've got the shades that are in here, and I thought it was interesting that it's called 01 Rose or Rosé, because to me that makes me question whether they're planning on doing a series of these palettes. It has just started absolutely tipping it down with rain outside. I'm very happy to be indoors because it looks horrible. I'm just looking out my window. I really hope the lighting's okay and that you can't hear the rain. It sounds horrible. Now, I was quite surprised at how small this is. It's very compact. Just to give you a point of reference, this is my Naked palette. Everybody knows what this looks like. So it's narrower than that and shorter as well. So it's ending here. And so I'm going to take the cellophane off now and let you know my thoughts. I'm going to do this very unsafely with a pair of scissors. I don't recommend doing this. Now, if you want to know what makeup I'm wearing in this video, it is an everyday makeup look inspired by Emma Watson, and it's going to be my next video, so stay tuned for that. I really do appreciate all of you bearing with me, because I know that I've been pretty absent from YouTube this year, and I know that some of my videos have been sort of pre-recorded, and that's why I wanted to jump on with this sort of brand new one as soon as I had the chance. So thank you for bearing with me, and I'm really hoping to get into a schedule of uploading minimum of once a week, if not more. Let me know if you have a day preference when you'd like me to upload in the comments below. So it's actually quite a shiny palette, very nice, and it's got this sort of rose or rosé. I don't know what it's called. I'm going to call it Rosé for the rest of this, because otherwise I'm going to keep saying it twice and it's going to annoy everybody, not least myself. And as I said, it's got the colours on the back. I actually like that it's compact, it doesn't bother me, and I do think it's a great price point. So it opens pretty easily. It's not a magnetic closure or anything, just a clip. There is a full-size mirror in the lid, and one of these little brushes that I never use. Oh no, I just put my nail in it. That's really annoying. Anyway, beauty blogger fail. I never use these, and it's annoyed me because I've just whacked my nail into the shadow trying to get it out. It felt very buttery when I was putting my nail into it. But it's got a sponge tipped applicator and a brush at the other end. I suppose it's good if you're in a pinch. I personally won't use it. So I'm holding this upside down, but you can see that it goes from light to dark, and it's all really sort of pretty warm colours, rose pinks and purples. There's also some greys and taupes and browns in there, so really lovely for a wearable everyday look. Let me know if you would like me to do a tutorial of this, but for now I'm just going to swatch. So I'm going to go from left to right in the palette, which I think is also your left to right. Gosh, you can tell that I'm probably not a very good driver. I'm going to start with the lightest shade. Now they don't have names, but there are 10 shadows in here, and I'm just going to go from this lightest shade through to the darkest purple. Now, am I going to swatch with a brush? I think I'm going to use my e.l.f. eyeshadow C brush. So, actually I think I'm going to do brush swatches and finger swatches as well. So the first shade feels very soft and powdery. I think it might give a bit of fallout, but at the same time it feels like it would be very easy to blend. So that is it swatched on the back of my hand using the eyeshadow brush, not blended but just swatched, and on my finger. So I think that would be a nice sort of all over the lid or even a highlight colour. It has got a slight frosty finish to it actually, I would say. And then the next shade again feels very buttery. It is the sort of shade that I would use for an all over colour wash over the lid. Again, a slightly frosty finish, peachy shade. I would say it's got sort of less chunks of glitter than MAC All That Glitters. The next shade is barely showing up on my skin. It's a sort of flesh-toned, slightly warm matte shade. I've swatched it using a brush for you there, but I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, and on my finger. Shade number 4 in the palette, again swiped onto my finger or applied using a brush, is a really great, it's a sort of basic colour that I think everyone should have in their collection. It's quite a warm brown tone, almost with sort of a hint of orange to it, a sort of spicy colour that I think is really fantastic as a transition colour, just going through the crease to almost contour your eye with. Really great colour. I'm really pleased to see that that's included, and that is again a matte finish. And I have to say, the matte quality of these shadows, the quality of the matte shadows in this palette is impressing me so far. The next shade along doesn't look like much in the pan. It looks like a sort of shimmery peach, but actually it's a really gorgeous rose gold colour. There it is swatched with a brush. I don't think my swatch is going to do it justice. It's beautiful. I don't own Amber Lights, and I actually don't think that this is like Amber Lights, because I think Amber Lights is a richer, deeper gold, but this is a really pretty, shimmery, peachy rose gold shade that I think would look really lovely and fresh for a sort of wash of colour all over the lid. Really pretty. And then the next shade along is the one that I very clumsily whacked my nail into, which is a shame because it's a really pretty, again, these shades are gorgeous. Sorry, I'm looking down into my palette. Taupey colour, and it's got quite a high sheen. Not a dupe for Satin Taupe by MAC by any means, but nonetheless a very pretty and wearable shade. It's quite a soft taupey look, almost more with a hint of pink to it than most taupes I think have a slight hint of lilac or browny grey, whereas this is almost like a taupe with a subtle hint of pink or peach to it. Very pretty indeed. And as I said, if you'd like me to do a tutorial, I'm more than happy to do so. I'm just cleaning my brush off. But just a quick disclaimer, it's not going to be for a couple of weeks. I tend to film at weekends, and so I'm probably not going to get around to filming any new videos. So the next shade along is another matte shade. And again, this one is not giving me much colour payoff, whether it be because of the colour of my skin. I actually think it's just not very pigmented. I think this next shade along is probably the, and I'll just show it to you actually. It's this one here. This one here, not getting much colour payoff at all from this one, so maybe you could use it to blend out shades, but otherwise that's probably the miss for me out of this palette. I'll swatch it onto my finger anyway so you can see. I mean, on a finger swatch it looks like a sort of soft mauvey shade, but really struggling to get that to show up. I'm actually really excited about this palette now that I'm swatching it. I think I sort of ummed and ahed when I saw it in the store. I was like, oh, you know, I want to get it because I want to review it for you guys, but do I really need another eyeshadow palette with these sorts of colours in? You know, I have the Naked 3 and I barely ever reach for that, and I've also got the Makeup Revolution version of Naked 3, but this is beautiful. I'm not going to compare it to the Naked 3 or to the Makeup Revolution version. I'm just going to do it as a standalone review, sort of, well, first thoughts. If you want me to do a comparison review, then again, just comment below. I have no idea if this is available in the US or, you know, what the deal is. As I said, I just bought it myself. It's not a PR sample, but now that I'm swatching it, I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to create some looks. I just think it's really, there's a lot of versatility in this palette. Both, I think it'd be great for beginners, or just people in a hurry, because on a day-to-day basis, to be honest with you, I tend to just do a one shadow, quick swipe, wash a colour and go out the door. I'm not a morning person, and that works really well for me on a day-to-day basis. And I think there are some really great colours in here for doing that with, but you've also got the mix of darker shades and mattes as well that make it a really good palette to have in your repertoire if you want to create some sort of neutral looks, or as we're coming up to swatch these other colours, some more smoky eyes. And I actually think it's really pretty. I'm very excited. I think this would be a great little stocking filler, dare I say it, Or also, don't be surprised if you see a lot of people, if the hype hasn't died down by then, creating some really pretty Valentine Day looks with this, because I think it would be great for that too. This next shade along is the third from the end in the palette, and again, a sort of taupey colour. Very pretty with a sheen finish. I would say, describe that as like a satin finish. Very, very pretty, wearable taupe shade. Again, it's quite an interesting grey taupe with a hint of pink to it. Let me compare that to the other taupe in the palette. So this is the one that I've just swatched, and this is the other taupe in the palette. Not much difference. I think one is slightly warmer than the other. I'll use my brush to compare. Yeah, actually they are quite different. So the one near the end is more of a classic taupe, and this one is more of a sort of warm taupe, if I dare say a warm taupe. It's got more of a sort of peachy bronze hint to it. Very, very interesting shade, and I think it would be a really nice way to wear a sort of soft, subtle smoky eye for daytime. It's really difficult to comment on the quality when I'm just doing swatches, but on first impressions I do think that the quality, apart from that one shadow that just wasn't showing up, I think it's pretty good, and I think 14 quid for this is not bad at all. Well, 15 quid. Now this next one I've just needed to apply a couple of layers. It is a matte shade again. Really lovely, ooh, where is it? There we go. Grey toned matte. So a little bit more work with that one. It tends to be the case with most matte shades that you need to apply a couple of layers. But it still feels smooth and a nice formula. It doesn't feel stiff or dry, at least in terms of doing the swatch. And I think that's a really nice, good basic colour that you can't go wrong with. A nice addition to the palette again. I like that they've included a nice selection of matte shades to complement the shimmery, well, they're not really shimmery, they're more satin finish ones, but I think that's really, really handy. And then last but by no means least is this sort of deep purple colour. I do think that you might get a little bit of fallout with these, because I've just looked down at my top and realised that I've got powder down the front of my top. So probably not the best day to wear a pale coloured t-shirt, but just be warned of that. But otherwise, I think these are good. This is interesting. It's almost like got a slight duochrome effect to it. Now I've had to layer it a couple of times. This is the sort of heavy finger swatch. It looks sort of brown in some lights, but then purple in others. So really, really pretty. It reminds me a little bit, and I haven't used it for a while, but I do like it, of a colour in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette that has this sort of duochrome purpley brown effect. Really, really interesting, and one that I very much like. I like duochrome shadows. I don't reach for them enough, but I like them. Nice for wearing a colourful smoky eye whilst keeping it quite wearable as well. I do think that you're going to need to apply quite a few layers, and definitely use primer. Obviously I haven't put primer on the back of my hand if you want to get the true intensity of that colour, but I do think it's a pretty colour and a nice one to include, particularly this time of year. And that's it. So I hope that you found this useful. As I said, it's not a full review, it's just my initial thoughts and a few swatches, but hopefully it will help you to decide whether you want to get this palette or not. I would say go for it. For $14.99, plus you can get your Boots points, so I don't know what that works out as, I can't remember what the points are now, but you know, definitely one worth adding to your collection. I think you're probably going to get some fallout. As I said, I haven't applied these to my lids yet, but I think that the quality of the shadows is pretty good. There's a couple of shades that are a little bit of a miss for me, but they're far outweighed by the ones that I think are really, really good. I like the mix of shades. I think there's a nice mix of ones that you can use as a one shadow look, or you know, you've got mattes, some deep shades, some more neutral shades for creating a sort of more complex look if you'd like to as well. And I really like, I think it's my favourite shade, this sort of transition shade here. I think that's really, really good that they've included that. It is quite a small palette. I'm not too sure what each of the shadows is, but there's 10 eyeshadows in here, and well, it says 7 grams. I assume that that's for all of them, but to be fair, like, how often do I use up an entire eyeshadow? So I think that's more than enough. Really, really like it. Oh, it's even got the sell-by date on the back. I like it when they do that. Mainly because I've got too much makeup and I find it useful. So this is good until 17th of September 2017. Wow, that's scary that 2017 is a year that exists. But I think this would be really great. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a good one for travel because the colours are quite specific. It's these sort of warmer rose shades, and I am intrigued to see if they are going to bring out a series of these palettes. But on first impressions, I think this is very, very pretty. Great for a stocking filler, and I would pick one up if you get the chance. I think that I will be reaching for this a lot, particularly around springtime in fact. So let me know if you want me to do a tutorial. As I said, it's not going to be for a couple of weeks. If you like this, then give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, then just pop them in the comments below. I know this hasn't been the most thorough review because I just wanted to jump on and share this with you ASAP before I've even had a chance to try it. You saw me take the cellophane off. So let me know what you think, and hopefully YouTube won't be sort of overwhelmed with 1,000,001 reviews of this palette and everyone will die of boredom. So if you've enjoyed this, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, there's a button just below, and I will see you all soon. As I said, the next video is going to be a tutorial on this everyday wearable makeup look inspired by Emma Watson. So don't forget to stay tuned if you want to see how to recreate this as well. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!